Hi guys, I want to let you know what I'm doing today. I know that some of you have seen my muscle rub videos, and a lot of the muscle rub recipes that you're going to find have petroleum jelly as the base, and some have other things, and I don't use petroleum jelly, and I don't want to use natural or organic or anything like that if it's not. So in that video I made my own base. And since then, I've gotten a lot of emails about, can you use that base in place of petroleum jelly? And actually, you might have seen another video I did where I was trying to formulate it so that I had, I could make it into a roll-on. And that actually didn't work. So I'm now going to go with a push-up stick, but I don't have those in stock right now. But a woman wrote to me and she said that her mother is absolutely convinced that there's nothing like petroleum jelly for the baby skin, and she read that putting Vaseline on your lips is the same as drinking gasoline, which one of the challenges for me as someone who touts themselves as natural, organic, blah, 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 is hearing that kind of nonsense. Petroleum is not a good thing to put on your skin, yes, but it's not the same as drinking gasoline. The same thing as when people say if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it, don't put it on your body. That's also crap. I can't pronounce, but it's, and I can't pronounce, but it's, and I can't pronounce, but it's, and I'm going to continue to put those things on my skin because it's good for you. So don't listen to any quackery like that. And the whole thing is like, yes, petroleum products are not good for you. Petroleum jelly is a byproduct of the petroleum industry. Okay, yes, yay, but it's not like drinking gasoline. But this woman wanted a petroleum jelly type product. And I really didn't think that what I had done as the base for the muscle rub, either the one that I tried to put into a stick, a roll-on, or the one that I put in a regular jar, was going to really be jelly-like. So I researched and researched and researched and researched, because that's what I do, and I came up with this, but I'm going to tell you what else you can do if you don't want to do what I'm doing. So if you are a formulator, I would suggest that you think about different types of oils that you would like, but the biggest thing that people tend to substitute for petroleum jelly has castor in it, either castor jelly or castor oil, something. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the formula that I came up with that I like. And I'm also going to tell you what other formulas are out there so that you can decide for yourself. Now, I've made this a few times, and it's actually come out different every time. So it does come out kind of jelly-like, but it's not pure Vaseline jelly-like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the water boiling for this. I'm going to get the water boiling for the double boiler. I'm going to alcohol the pot because there's no preservative. We have to make sure everything's spotless, spotless, spotless before we begin. I'm going to shave off my very natural, local beekeeper honey. Honey smelling beeswax smells so good. And I'll bring you back. Okay, so what I have here is five 4-ounce jars that I'm going to put in my boiling water as soon as it starts boiling. And so I'm going to make 20 ounces of baby jelly. So in the 20 ounces, I want 5% of that to be, I want to be beeswax. So I want 1 ounce of beeswax. So that leaves me with 19 ounces. Now, I've seen this recipe done, and I can't tell how it feels, which is part of the problem. And I've tried the different recipes, and I've had to go with how it feels to me. And sometimes I think either I'm not doing it right or they didn't say it right because what I'm feeling doesn't seem to be what's going on here. So the other like 0.5 ounces that you want in here is vitamin E. But I have vitamin E. I'm using my infused oils for part of this. So I'm not going to put any extra vitamin E in here. but you can if you don't have that situation. So I have 19 ounces. I've seen this done with beeswax and olive oil. I've seen it done with beeswax and castor oil. I've seen it done with castor oil, olive oil, and coconut oil. I've seen it with you know, just olive oil and a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of shea butter. If you remember my muscle rub base, the last time I did it, it had shea butter and cocoa butter in it. You can make a nice jelly out of that, but it doesn't seem like a jelly. It seems more like a cream. So if you're going for jelly, you want to cut down on those kind of opaque butters. So I'm not putting any butter in here. I'm going to put a little bit of coconut oil in here. And I just think that in the times that I've tried this, the one with the coconut oil seemed better to me. And, you know, it might not be as jelly-like, but it seemed better to me. So I'm going to put these in the water. I'm going to cut off my ounce of beeswax. I'm going to get my coconut oil, and I'll be back. Now you'll notice that I have 91% alcohol here, and it's usually the only alcohol I buy because it cuts down on the fizzing with the bath bombs. But it's also excellent for sanitizing everything when you're doing a product that does not have a preservative in it. And even if you are doing, you know me, I want to alcohol everything, whether there's a preservative in it or not. So I'm doing my bowl, I'm going to do my pot, and then I'm going to put these babies in, and then I'm going to bring it back and show you the percentages that I've come up with oils. Okay, so this is what 1 ounce of beeswax looks like. I try to make it as fine as I can so that it melts easier. So I alcoholed the top of the double boiler, and I'm just putting these in here. And then I'm going to wipe this out and put it, I'm going to wipe this out, there's still alcohol on here. I'm going to put this in the pot where the rest of its brothers and sisters are getting sanitized. So I'm putting my bowl here. I'm going to tear out my scale. Now at this point you should have an ounce of beeswax, a quarter of an ounce, half an ounce, you know, a few drops, whatever it is you think is necessary for, let me put you back over here. Whatever you think is necessary for your level of vitamin E. Now, what I've come up with is I am going to do an ounce of coconut oil. Just want to make sure that's an ounce. What the heck happened there? Yep, that's an ounce. So I'm going to put the ounce of coconut oil in with the beeswax because that needs to melt too. So there goes my ounce of beeswax and my ounce of coconut oil. Now I have my own infused oils. Now if you don't have your own infused oils, it's perfectly fine. What I'm using here is olive oil. And because when you infuse, a lot of times some of the plant matter gets in there, but I have just for my baby balm, anything I do for babies is done with my olive oil, extra virgin olive oil infused with lavender. That's what it is. So there's not going to be any fragrance here. I've seen some people do fragrance. I don't really know why, but they do. But you can make your olive oil at this point any I see a piece of lavender right there. But you can make your, at this point you can make your oils, you know, whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to put in 6 ounces of extra virgin olive oil that's been infused with, wait, my scale's giving me trouble. It's been infused with lavender, which is what I put in all my baby products. Okay, so that's 6 ounces. Now if you wanted to make this half olive and half castor, you know, that would be perfectly fine. Now it's telling me I just lost 3 ounces for taking this out. So I'm going to tear it out. I lost 0.3 ounces, not. I'm just going to add a dab. 2. Okay, so now I have 6 ounces of olive oil, and you could absolutely make it more if you like. That's lavender infused olive oil, great for baby skin. Now I'm going to add 12 ounces of castor oil. I'm going to tear on my scale again, and I'm going to put in 12 ounces of castor oil. Now you can make that little proportions, whatever you want. Like I said, I made this a few different times, and this is the one I like the best, but you don't have to do it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my coconut oil, my melted coconut oil, my melted beeswax to this. And you can see it gets what I call lacy. And this is definitely going to be different. Well, I want you to see this. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Probably should have moved the camera instead of trying to move all this. But I want this to be jelly-like. Like, I don't want it to be balmy-like. I want it to be more jelly-like. And that's why I added less coconut oil and less beeswax than I do in the balms. So, now if you have vitamin E in here, and I have it from, you know, the oil, there's not a lot you can do. But if you really think that you might have to reheat this, if it doesn't come together that well, because this should be turning like completely gelatinous and combining, you know, it may or may not. I might have to hit it with the stick blender, or I might have to put it back in the top of the double boiler for like a minute. And if you do that, and I'm going to do this, you might want to add some vitamin E, which is what I'm going to do, because I want to show you this. See those specks? The hot material wasn't really enough to overcome the cold material, and that happens sometimes. It doesn't happen every time. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just let it stay in there for a second. And then when it comes out, I'm going to take its temperature, and when it cools down to 120 degrees, I'm going to add some extra vitamin E. Oop. And this is a stage where people tend to get lost. They tend to think they're doing something wrong. They don't know why it looks this way. So you really have to be patient. So hang on one second. So what I'm going to do, I have some vitamin E out, and I'm going to alcohol the top of my stick blender, because I'm going to hit it with my stick blender when it comes out. Probably don't need to, but I'm going to. I'm going to do that anyway. So away we go. Okay, it's nice and completely fluid again. And it usually cools down fairly quickly. Let me see what it's at. It's a 151. And it will probably get down pretty quickly to 120. Really don't want bubbles. And you don't have to hit it with the stick blender. I just want it to stay together as it cools. Not that you don't want it to stay together, but I'm just saying. you could sit here and whisk it and you would not get all these bubbles. I know I've said this a zillion times, but you want to dip your tongs into the boiling water before you take your jars out, and you want to make sure that your newly sanitized jars are not touching anything that's not sanitary. So you want them to go right on the paper towel. So I want to show you what this looks like. We have a little piece of, I don't know if it's beeswax, coconut oil that's sort of solidified after I poured it in, or it might have come from the side, I don't know. But that's like no big deal. When you're making all natural products, you're going to get some discrepancies in the uniformity of it all. So, and some people will ask about, you know, essential oils, and, you know, they say that you can put lavender essential oil in baby products. I prefer to infuse my oils with lavender, and, you know, essential oils can be very irritating to anybody's skin. And I know that, you know, maybe it's not that irritating to baby skin, but I just don't want to. So anyway, speaking of irritants, you know, one of the reasons I put vitamin E in my infusions and try not to put it directly into my products is that can be a bit of an irritant as well. I was saying it's 72, which I know is not correct. You have to know your thermometer, folks, because some of them are very odd. 126. That sounds better. Okay, since this is at 120, I'm going to put this in. Now, some of you, I have my jars over here. They are upside down drying. And if you've seen some of my infusion videos, you know that you can have the bands on the top. And they look perfectly fine, but if you rub them, there can be rust on them. So I try to always use new bands and lids. It's become a custom of mine. I just order them every single week. I order wide mouths, I order small mouths, you know, just so that I always have extra ones on hand, so I don't have to worry about unseen rust, you know, being on my jars and lids. But I still have to dunk them in boiling water for a second, and then I alcohol them. And I'm not going to do that until I'm ready to close them, because there's no sense in leaving them out in the air. So anyway, I'm stepping on bubble wrap. That's the crinkly noise you're hearing. 122, almost there. Okay, I'm down around 120, and I just teared out my scale, and I tore it out. I don't know what the past tense is of tear. T-A-R-E, I don't know. So I did it with my whisk in there. So I'm going to leave my whisk in there, and I'm going to put in a ½ ounce of vitamin E. And this is another reason. True vitamin E is like amber color. So I just amber colored, you know, the entire thing. So it's looking nice. I don't know if it's going to be gelatinous or balmy. And, you know, it's like, that's why you need to play with these recipes, because sometimes, and I don't know why, sometimes things work one way one day and they work something the other way. But anyway, I'm going to now spritz these all with alcohol. And they're pretty hot, so some of this might melt up a little bit. But I'm going to spritz them with alcohol. And I don't know what's up with this alcohol. I paid a lot of money for 91%, and it seems to be leaking. But I'm going to spritz them with alcohol. That's not a spritz. And let them dry. And then I'm going to pour my substance in with one of my short funnel stem funnels. If you've seen my sanitation videos, you know that I believe that one of the key ingredients to sanitation is that your product takes as few steps as possible to the end container. So right now, because I can't find my funnel, I'm gonna have to, it's not that I can't find it. I did an infusion this morning and I used one of the smaller ones. Why, I don't know, but I did. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this after I alcohol it all out. And I don't like to do that. I prefer to pour it directly from here into there, but I'm gonna lose product if I do that. So, probably lose it all over me. So I'm putting it in here, and then it smells like honey from the natural beeswax, which is nice. Nice, nice, nice. Maybe I'll name it honey. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put one of my jars there. And I know I've spritzed it with alcohol already. It's boiled already. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to put this in here. Then I'm going to do the next one. And I know this is over sanitizing, but whenever I have to put an extra step in, it makes me crazy. And some of this is lumpy in here, but it will all come together. And maybe I won't make it to 5. I don't know. Looks like maybe I won't. 3. Maybe I will. Maybe math and sizing things is not really my strong suit. 4. Yay. I'm running out of paper towels. It's the story of my life. Running out of paper towels. Alright. And ta-da! The last one. Let's see if I can get some more in some of these. Wish I could pipe this in, it would be really nice. So each one gets a little extra spritzy. I've actually gotten 6 out of this, I don't know. Okay guys, my camera shut off in the middle of the last thing that I was shooting, so I don't know how much of it you saw. I'll have to go through the edits. Here's my jelly, and it looks like jelly. It's not as translucent as petroleum jelly, and if you wanted it to be, leave out the coconut oil. I have found that when I did it with just olive oil or just castor oil, it was more translucent and less opaque. But I like the coconut oil. I wouldn't suggest shea butter, or I definitely wouldn't suggest cocoa butter, because it's going to be much firmer than a jelly. Now it hasn't firmed up yet, but it's getting there. And I'll bring you back when it's firmed up completely before I put the lids and bands on, and I'll show you. This is the inside of the, still not jelly-like, but it's getting there. So, like I said, I've played with this recipe. This is the one I came up with that I like the best. But maybe there's other recipes and other proportions, percentages that, you know, I haven't tried yet. And maybe you can come up with. And if you do, leave it in comments and let us know. Remember, share and share alike. You don't have to share everything, but share some things. If you learned how to make soap, if you weren't born learning that, somebody taught you something. So in the spirit of generosity and goodwill toward all soapers and skincare makers, let's share some of our recipes and let's give credit where credit is due. And I'll see you on the internet when I will be back and show you this when it firms up completely. But for now, remember to share and share alike. Okay guys, I don't know if you could see, this is about a half an hour later, and I topped this one off because I'm going to take a photo of it for the website. But it looks very jelly-like, and it's not as translucent as Vaseline, but this is actually good for you. So this is the formula that I like. If you want it more translucent, leave the coconut oil out. If you want it more opaque, put some more in. If you want to play with the castor oil and the olive oil amounts, you could do that. But this is really a nice alternative to petroleum jelly, which is not good for you and definitely not good for your baby. Talk to you later. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show you what it looks like, you know, the part that was left in here. And in here, it does look very much like jelly if you look at it. It looks like jelly. And if you wanted it to look exactly like Vaseline, you could probably leave the coconut oil out, but I really like the way it feels. I mean, it feels nicer than Vaseline. It gives you the exact same protection, and it's awesome. It's all natural. It's not like drinking gasoline, although I don't think that using petroleum jelly is like drinking gasoline. It is an unhealthy product. So this is the jelly. Yay, jelly. This is what I call baby jelly. It is castor oil, lavender infused olive oil, coconut oil, and vitamin E. All natural, all lovely, and just wonderful stuff for you. See you later.